If I ask you, what do you call someone who starts a company, creates a product, has an extraordinary vision, builds a billion-dollar empire, and makes a ton of money, and someone who ends up on Forbes's billionaire list? You'd immediately answer, an entrepreneur. Many would even think of people like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, or Jeff Bezos, given their fame and reputation as successful entrepreneurs. Pretty straightforward answer, right? Yet, just 2 centuries ago, there wasn't even a word to describe these kinds of people. It wasn't until the early 1800s that a French economist gave a name to this figure. Here's the story of the origin of the word entrepreneur and the person who coined this term. Jean Baptiste Say was born in 1767 in Lyon, France, to a family of businessmen. He lived during a period marked by several historical events that influenced his thinking. In 1785, at just 18, his father sent him to England to study business. There, Jean Baptiste Say found an environment completely different from France. At this time, England was at the center of industrial innovation, with the economy shifting from rural to industrial, featuring factories equipped with machinery. He stayed for 2 years, living in the outskirts of London. He worked as a cartographer, a job that allowed him to learn about and experience industrialization firsthand. He also began to study English economists who were spreading their theories. In 1787, he returned to France, now a supporter of the concepts of entrepreneurial freedom and free market. His way of thinking aligned with the French people's desire for a new France, which led to the outbreak of the French Revolution in 1789. France was in a situation of extreme economic, political, and social difficulty, with the French people, especially the lower classes, deeply dissatisfied. The French economy was still based on agriculture as the main means of production, and the ancient regime was still in force, with an absolute monarchy wielding unlimited power. The aristocratic class was the main social class, possessing all the privileges and rights, including land ownership. This model was slowly beginning to weaken, thanks in part to the Enlightenment movement, which began to spread the concept of reason and rationality among people. The Enlightenment aimed to awaken people through reason, enabling them to overcome their conditions of inferiority and weakness, as until then, people's minds had been clouded by religion and society. In this new climate of change, Say found himself at the center. He worked as a journalist for Le Courrier de Provence, a newspaper born during the French Revolution. Later, in 1792, he fought as a volunteer. Returning to civilian life, Say began to focus on what he was most passionate about: educational problems and spreading his thoughts, especially regarding economics. He began writing for another newspaper, La Décade philosophique, littéraire et politique, which covered not only themes of the French Revolution, but also philosophy and political economy. Through this newspaper, Say was able to reconcile his philosophical and educational ideals that he so wanted to spread. In 1800, he published Olbi ou Essai, sur les moyens de réformer les mœurs d'une nation, in which Say presented his ideal vision of how a society should be structured. In 1807, along with another businessman, opened a cotton spinning mill, a factory that would employ up to 400 workers. However, in 1813, due to various difficulties, he decided to leave the business world, selling his shares and returning to teaching and writing. In 1819, in Paris, along with Adolphe Blanqui and Jacques Lafitte, he founded the world's first business school. ESCP Business School, previously known as École Supérieure de Commerce de Paris, was created to accompany the Industrial Revolution happening during those years. The school's goal was to train members through simulations and practical cases, such as accounting and budget management, to teach in the most realistic way possible the problems related to business management. In 1803, he published one of his main works, a treatise on political economy or the production, distribution, and consumption of wealth. Say drew inspiration from Adam Smith's book, The Wealth of Nations, which laid many foundations of modern economic thought. Say was a great supporter of Smith's theories of free market and laissez-faire. Although Say supported many points proposed by Smith, he also criticized many other aspects. Among his corrections, Say put the entrepreneur as the central figure, which Smith had overlooked. According to Say, the entrepreneur shifts economic resources out of an area of lower and into an area of higher productivity and greater yield. It was Say who first used the term entrepreneur, which comes from the French entreprendre, meaning to undertake, referring to a person who undertakes an enterprise. For him, the entrepreneur must be capable of reconciling labor, capital, and resources to generate goods and services without any state intervention. A country well stocked with merchants, manufacturers, and intelligent farmers has more means to achieve prosperity than one that has devoted itself mainly to the pursuit of the arts and sciences.